Hi, I'm Kyle, and on this episode of the MWA podcast, Sean, Brian, Jeff, and I are asking Jameel Abrams the 5 other questions. If you haven't already, be sure to check out Jameel's interview about the upcoming Handworks event on episode 612. So welcome back to the show, Jameel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. But before we get into talking about the 5 questions, let's dip our toes in the woodworking news. So by the time of this post, this may be old news, but Craig has come out with a loose tenon joiner, basically a pretty much exact copy of the Domino. It has a couple of interesting features, but from what I understand is Domino's Festool's patent on the Domino is expiring this summer. So Craig has already, put their mark and came out with this tool. Some of the differences from the regular Domino is this one does not have to be hooked up to a dust collector. It does have some little ports on the bottom of it so sawdust can fall away. And the other interesting thing about it is cordless. So it's part of they've come out with a whole line of tools and they're all cordless tools. So this goes right into the lineup. One of the comments I've seen is everyone would like to have a corded version of this tool. So we'll see if they come out with that because no one wants to get into another ecosystem of battery pack. But
yes.
Yeah. But with that said, also this week, Festool introduced a cordless version of theirs. So,
it's definitely not the same house, but I wonder who's making the Craig battery DC motor combo. Like, who's manufacturing that? It's not Craig. They're leveraging some other company to do that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's made somewhere in overseas. And yeah.
And so pick your battery style. Yeah. It's going to work with one of them. It's going to be the Bosch, the Makita, the DeWalt, the Delta, one of them is going to fit. I don't know which. Let it come out and see. I saw the Wood Talk guys talking about this because they were at a show where it was demonstrated.
Yeah, they were at I think it was the Woodcraft, franchisee show, where they have all their store owners and stuff in there to see all the new stuff coming out. Yeah. And this is one of the things they had out there. I don't think this is going to be available for purchase till like in the fall.
I saw some guy post somewhere on Instagram, and it was like, the problem with this is like, those patents are not expiring yet.
Yeah.
And so they can't actually bring it to market. They can show it, but you could actually see some litigation happening, from before just by trying to mimic or use.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because it is, the Domino now it's like $1,300 and this is coming out for $500. So it's not a cheap tool, but it is, more than half, more than 50% cheaper. So what is it, 70% cheaper. Yeah. So, I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't played with this tool, so I have no idea, but Craig doesn't seem to like my go-to for power tools even.
No. Yeah. I
could be wrong, but what's going to be interesting is when some other companies like, DeWalt, Milwaukee, those type of companies, I'm sure they probably have theirs raring to go too. But they're probably, and by the time this posts, there might be, by the time this episode posts, there might be another 2 or 3 competitors on the market besides Craig.
Well, the post I saw was referencing this whole saw stop thing from years ago when we were at the Wood event. Dami and I were there. They were showing who was it? Bosch. The Bosch job site saw had a flesh sensing technology thing, and SawStop took them to court and they just cut it completely. It's not even available now, and that was 7-8 years ago. So it will be interesting how this happens and who's bringing out what. Obviously, like track saws are a thing, and that was I think that was a Festool thing first. Kind of made it big, and now a bunch of companies make that kind of thing. So there's ways of making this happen. It's just this whole floating tenon tool. What was the old biscuit cutter?
Lamino.
Yeah, Lamino. I mean, like that thing existed forever, and there were no competitors, right? Like they were the thing.
Yeah,
Who else-
yeah,
Who
and
else
it's
got
like,
those things. Yeah, it's like that.
yeah, and we'll have to see. But I imagine as soon as those patents are going to expire, there's going to be a lot of competitors on the market. I mean,
Yeah,
I can even see like a Harbor Freight Hercules version of this.
Oh, good Lord.
My dad got a Harbor Freight hammer drill
Yeah.
recently, and he's like, "Oh, this thing is gonna be great." I'm like, I've never trusted anything with a plug from that store. So, I don't know. Maybe,
Actually, I think their tools have gotten better over the
maybe
past
they
few
have.
years. I don't know if they're quite up to Milwaukee DeWalt standard. I think they have this good, better, best type thing. But anyway,
Oh boy.
but
this will be interesting to watch. Craig, good
It
on
will.
you. Interest. Like, how many other power tools do they have?
Yeah. Well,
Any?
I got to say, it was my first big power tool expense was getting a domino and and a track saw and a dust extractor and a sander. And that's basically, back in the day, I got like the first version of the domino tube because I have the one that has metal pins instead of plastic pins because I think they got sued by somebody. Might have been Lamino or something like that with the metal pins. But anyway, what I'm getting at is it's been a great tool. It opens up a lot of interesting ways of processing work. It's a lot faster and sometimes, and it's easy to do and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I mean, just looking in the Craig store or the website of other tools, they exclusively have drills, which, if nothing but their color, like look like the Cobalt, like Lowe's type model of that. So again, whoever is making this stuff is probably the way they're going, and so everything from the motor to the battery to the mechanisms inside are included.
Okay, next up, Iwasaki, if I'm even pronouncing that right,
Iwasaki,
maybe Iwasaki.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Iwasaki. Yeah, I think you're right, Iwasaki. Anyway, Iwasaki draw files are now available at Lee Valley. I have some of these, not the draw files, but some of their other files, and they're really nice. And these look pretty interesting.
I've never heard of these.
Yeah, they're a Japanese file, and they have like 3 or 4 different versions of these files, and you can buy them individually or you can buy them as a set of 4. I think individually they're like about $25, and the whole set's like $90 or something like that. But they're different draw files, and they look interesting, especially for doing a lot of curve stuff and like that. They're a little bit finer than you would see for like a rasp or something like that. So looks interesting. I like the way they're set up. Like I said, I have a set of their standard files, and I do use those all the time. And this would be kind of interesting to have like a draw file, so you can actually put your hands on both sides of the file. So
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. And inexpensive. I mean, they're $25 a piece.
Yeah. So, yep, I'd like to give them I'm sure Handworks will have them ready for us to use.
There it is.
Lee Valley booth.
Yeah. I like the name on them too, Flat Bastard.
Yeah,
can't go wrong with that.
I've been called that a number of times. Anyway,
but I know it's just they have a flat. They have a flat bastard, but then they have just a flat medium. It's not a a flat medium
file. A bastard file is a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's a grade from some time. I don't know what it describes, but it is truly it's like a coarser file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does a little more damage. But the name is, we need a t-shirt, like a Craig t-shirt with Mike Myers in the Fat Bastard, outfit. Advertising it.
Who was it? There was this famous physicist who used to call everyone a spherical bastard because no matter how you looked at them, they were still a bastard. It's spherical.
I remember that one.
I don't remember that one. Wild.
Anyway, I forgot who the physicist
this is
was.
Interesting. A nice, like, not expensive if you want to get it. Like, it's even worth trying out kind of price. I don't know that I use files like that, like to refine, like crest rails or anything like that. I would use something different, maybe. sandpaper as opposed to a file, but it is very interesting.
Yep, I like it. Next up, Bow Products has a new expandable push shoe. So it's basically a push block for a table saw, but it kind of has like these 3 legs to it, and it's got a center leg and then 2 other legs that kind of scissor out and scissor back in. So you can adjust it to different widths of boards, and you can adjust it so you make sure your saw blade passes between the things. It's kind of like a new take on the gripper.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the who was that?
Microjig.
Yeah, Microjig. Yeah. And so it looks like it, but it instead of sliding out like they did, this is like accordion expandable.
I like the I like the vertical orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool. It's and it's $80. I think it's about the same price as the gripper, and it has some interesting features. It has some little things that will come down on the back of it to kind of hold the edge of your board at the back as you push it through, and you can have those pushed up or pushed down, and looks pretty good. It looks looks a lot easier to adjust because I have a gripper, and you got to move that little center shoe back and forth to board the blade, and it's kind of a pain to move sometimes. So this
does it have the similar, like the shoe itself, was it like a different material in the gripper? It was it does. It's got a little whatever that black material is.
Yeah.
Little extra grip as it was. Interesting Mountain Dew color though, if that works with your aesthetic.
I think that's their color for Bow Products. They got a bunch of interesting stuff, but I think they went with the lime green instead of the Festool forest green.
Oh yeah, this is definitely lighter than the Festool green. Yes.
But anyway, it looks like a pretty cool product. If I didn't already have 2 grippers, I would probably buy one of these, and I may pick one up too. Who knows?
If I had a table saw, I might get one. But I don't.
You could start with this and then work your way up to a table saw.
Sure.
But no, I have seen some other use for it on like the bandsaw and stuff like that. So you can use this on other things, So, and let's see. Next up, Thule Park has, and this is new to me. This may not be new to our listeners, but I hadn't seen it before. But they have a 3-in-1 and 4-in-1 marking gauge. And if you're familiar with Thule Park, the guy makes some fine stuff, and it's completely over-engineered and very delicately done. And this marking gauge looks fantastic. I recommend going ahead and looking at the videos. The guy has the best ASMR voice you could ever. I mean, if you have trouble going to sleep, this is not a criticism of the guy. It's just like the way he speaks with that British accent. It's just something else. Anyway, but it is a pretty cool marking gauge, and I forgot how much these are. I believe they're 100 and they have different ones. The 3-in-1 is like 130 to 135 pounds. So that's probably in the $150 range. And then the 4-in-1, which has a little bit extra stuff to hold a pencil in the front part of the gauge. And that one is, on the back part of the gauge, I'm sorry. And that one is 170 pounds. So that's probably like $200 or something around that there.
Yeah.
So
you said it over-engineered, but
they're
pretty.
I
have a couple of his scribes, and those things are just perfect.
Oh, do you really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just watching this little thing, and like, this pressure plate holds the post as it goes through, and,
right?
And the different holding for a pencil or a blade, or that's
a pen and all that kind of
that's
stuff.
it's really cool. It's like one time you got it all kind of tools. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And I will probably end up picking one of these up. But anyway, I'm just, I love marking tools. And this one is just, it's almost a display piece, especially the 4-in-1 with that.
It kind of is.
Yeah. Yeah. It is pretty darn cool. Anyway, but I love that. Well, with that, let's give our patrons a shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yeah, we like to always give our Patreons a shout out, and today we're giving that particular shout out to Garrett Basil, sorry, depending on where you're from, that's how you say it. Thank you, Garrett, for helping us out. And if you would like to join Garrett in helping us out, you can go to patreon.com/MWA podcast.
Fantastic. All right, Jamil, on to the 5 questions. So 5 other questions, should we say. So what tools are you considering adding to your shop?
Well, the Craig Edge loose tenon joiner.
File yeah, really.
Not sponsored.
Say more.
I mean,
I'm gonna get mine and bring it to
Animal
Handworks.
shoe is like a million times better than my offcut with a notch in the end.
That's right.
It's a good question. I was just kind of browsing Lee Valley's What's New page. And I'm not the best person to ask this question of, because I'm at the point where I have tools that I'm very happy with, and I've kind of carved out a niche, but I did think about that question, and it would be to finish my anarchist tool chest that I started about 6 years ago. I had Seth Gould, blacksmith, make me a set of hardware for that, a crab block and handles and pulls, and they're just still sitting in the bottom of the chest. So that's the tool that I want to finish and have in the shop.
Nice.
Plus that other stuff too. That'd be nice. The Thule, I have to say, the Thule part, I've seen those on Instagram, and I just was kind of looking at the site while you guys were going over that, and that's quite a range that he's got. I need to get 1 or 6 of those.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. I wish he was coming to Handworks. Maybe he is, maybe not, but that would be fun to see that stuff in person.
Yeah.
Still time to plan. Reach out.
Yeah. You should reach out. Yeah.
So, let me ask you, Abraham, when you do the tool chest that you're talking about, would you do the top like you did with that collaboration you did with Chris Schwartz, where you did the marker tree and everything?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. When I built the chest, I built a temporary lid just so I could use the chest, because eventually I actually do want to do sort of like an over the top kind of lifetime inlay. And I've got a bunch of ideas rolling around in my head about it. And that was one of the ideas, was kind of guided Seth and sort of his design on some of the hardware. But yeah, one of these days I would love to do that. Definitely. But I might do a painting too. I don't know. I've kind of bounced back and forth between inlay and, maybe doing a painting of, I don't know what it would be. Maybe some like ancient Roman, sort of like something you'd see from Pompeii, some of the wall frescoes from that, only with like a woodworking theme. There's a pretty famous one of Icarus chopping mortises on some low benches.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Kind of like the mechanical bowl in the side, and not a big fan of that whole theme of that image, except for the Icarus part.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
sure what I'm going to do in that regard, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to maybe do a painting in there too.
Maybe you could do an inlay of a brush in your hand of a painting. The inlay of that would be kind of cool.
Oh, that would actually be really cool. That would be cool. Yeah. I'd have to call
like that etcher thing where they got the
exactly, like the 2 hands, one drawing the other. Yeah. I actually do want to do that. I kind of toy around with the idea of eventually making some, like, I don't like the word bespoke, but that's the word. Tool chests.
Artisanal,
yeah. Artesian.
Yeah,
some artesian. But I think it would be really cool to actually, maybe take a commission eventually. We have this great legacy of embellished tool chests and tool chest lids that, like, showing off, the craftsman's, it's kind of like their calling card back in the old days. But I haven't really seen anyone really doing it much. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that can do inlay, really, really spectacular. Like Frank Straza comes to mind.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
And of
Right.
course his benches are like incredible. But I haven't seen anyone doing tool chests, which I think would be really, really cool to do. So yeah, maybe that's in my future if I get caught up with stuff. I like that.
Double bevel marquetry, going on.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I got all kinds of stuff I can toy around with.
Now you were kind enough to give us a sneak peek into what you were going to talk about. Now you said something about some more chisels from.
Oh, I have,
sure.
I have
Yeah,
one
who's that?
chisel from Emai, and it holds an incredible edge. It just stays sharp forever, like chopping, dovetails, all this end grain chop. And I do want to, I want some more chisels from him. I don't know his current status. I used to get tools from Hita out in Berkeley,
Right.
Hita tools. But I don't know what his status is anymore. I don't know if he's still making tools or what. But a lot of his tools are out of stock at Hita. So
Is he from like the Western side? Is this a Japanese?
no, he's
Chinese?
he's a Japanese blacksmith.
Okay. Interesting.
I have some of his paring, long handled paring chisels, but you can find some of his tools like at auction, like whole sets of chisels,
Right.
which I really wouldn't have a use for because they're just the graduations are so fine that I don't really need that many.
Right.
Right.
But that's something I'd like to have. Yeah.
At some point, just buy the whole set, just to have.
Well,
are you offering donation towards that
financing?
end?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Sounds
But
good to me.
But yeah, no, I'm kidding. But like, if you only want some of them, at some point you might have to buy all of them.
No,
just to have
you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it's limited, that's a hard way to go.
Yeah, and it's got to be the Damascus with the rosewood handles and all of that stuff. So
Oh, sure. And all
There you go.
the tender love and care that went into making them. Like that's I'm sure they're fine tools. So but next question. Are there any changes you would like to make to your shop space or workflow? And I love the answer that you put in here. But so shop space or workflow?
it's
What do you want
a
to do?
bigger shop. Yeah, for sure. I would love that. The shop I have now is and it's just my personal woodworking shop. It's 25 feet square, 25 by 25.
Okay.
And over the years, I have really found the machine layout to make it all work. My planer is 90 degrees to my joiner. Everything passes over top or underneath or adjacent. I have half the shop is basically just empty, so I can put things together. I've found ways to make it work, but when you're working with longer boards, you gotta it's like playing operation in there, so you don't whack stuff around and knock things over.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
A shop that size just for machinery, and then another duplicate of it just for the bench and the hand tool area would be great.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that shop, as you describe it, 25 by 25 is basically more than half of my house.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's just a two-stall garage is what it is. So,
yeah, I live in a modest house. I'll give you that. But like that's a fair amount of space. But you're right. I mean, if you could open it up, maybe not even double it, but maybe half it again for just the bench and hand tools, you don't need as much massive space, especially if you've got assembly space.
Yes, there's
somewhere in between.
something to be said for efficiency of space too, and not having to walk all over the place.
Oh
Yeah.
And I think that's
I could just move to Tennessee and work at Greg Pennington's shop. That would fit the bill.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. You have some nice libations there. You mix this up
yeah.
on site. Yeah.
Good music.
Cooks up
Yeah.
on site.
Come down and cook for you. All right. So our third question is there a technique you would like to learn or a class you would like to take?
Yes, the first thing that came to mind was there's a blacksmith shop and school in Kitchener, Ontario called Two Smiths, and it's run by two women, Sandra Dunn and Amy Botello, and they are very dynamic duo. Just a wonderful pair to learn from. And I've been to their shop a couple of times. I stumbled on a spoon, a forged iron spoon class, and Amy or Sandra said to me, "Hey, you want to just drop in and make a spoon?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And it was one of the worst things I've ever made in my life. I mean, woodworking does not translate to forging for me.
Oh no.
But that was my first time too. So but it was fascinating. It was more like working with hot clay, hot stiff clay than anything. So it's more like sculpting than an additive or subtractive process. And just the idea of wrapping my mind around that seems like a lot of fun. Then they have a class where they do a copper and iron coffee spoon or ladle, where the bowl is cold formed, and well, I think they heat it too, the sheet copper, and then you form that into the bowl, and then you forge the iron handle, and that gets riveted to the copper bowl. So you've got two materials that kind of look really sweet together, the copper and the iron. And so yeah, that came to mind pretty much immediately when you asked me that question. So
nice.
Yeah. And they're just great. They're great people to be around too. So it's just, yeah.
Excellent.
Great. So what are your favorite types of woods to work with?
White pine, right after building anything from white oak. That's a really
Nice.
interesting question. I love wood. My wife just hollered out from the other room, "What'd you say, honey?" Yeah, the grain, she says. I love the grain. And I don't disagree with her. To me, it's not a single species of wood, but a particular board.
Right.
So I have a piece of white oak in the shop right now that I have on the edge, Japanese white oak, just because it looks like some of these like Japanese kind of cloud pattern, ray flecks, and that's really what does it for me. It's just a unique board. Or maybe our dining room table is 3 sequence matched boards of ash. It's nothing special, it's just ash, but they're all like perfect. So when I glued all 3 of them together, they look just like one board, and it's just beautiful to me. It's not one species, it's just special boards that really do it for me. Yeah. Or
Nice.
carving pear or boxwood. Carving boxwood is like carving frozen butter. There's almost like no grain.
Oh geez.
You can like carve across the grain and leave like thin ridges, and it won't flake out because of the short grain. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Turkish
Boxwood is
yeah.
Yeah, boxwood is really nice for turning. It also is very well known for taking threads, put in threads.
Yes.
It does
Super,
beautiful.
super crisp on the short grain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't
For
know.
sure.
All right, Jameel, our last question here is, what is your current go-to finish?
For years I liked Minwax antique oil, and it came in kind of a red square can. And my good friend Mike Michelli, who is kind of a finishing guru, has told me that they no longer manufacture that, and they're calling it tongue oil now, Minwax tongue oil. And to me, it's the closest to the old Pratt & Lambert 38, which was an alkyd-based varnish. And you could do a lot with that. You could rub it out. They just, with all of these new environmental regulations, the varnishes that are available now just don't really hold a candle to the old stuff. So I still have a couple of cans of the Minwax antique oil that I'm using. But I like to use True Oil a lot. Birchwood Casey True Oil, which is sold as a gun stock finish. And it's some kind of tongue oil recipe. I don't know the exact components, but it's a remarkable finish. You can actually build a very, very smooth finish that you can actually buff out to a gloss if you want. A lot of guitar makers use it. There used to be there was a guitar place called Luthier's Mercantile International, and they had a whole article on how to finish using True Oil, finish a guitar with the True Oil. And it was a very, very specific process where you would sand the wood down up to like 1,000 grit and almost polish it just as a raw wood, and then put the True Oil on 2 or 3 drops on a little cotton pad and like French polish it on. So you're putting on an absolutely whisper thin coat and then just building subsequent coats on top of that. And you could get a beautiful luster and depth with that stuff. And that still is available, the Birch Casey True Oil. So it's better for smaller projects, though. You wouldn't use it for like a chair, I don't think, unless you came up with a certain technique. So
Exactly.
But I have not gotten into the Levos or the hard wax or the Osmo, or I haven't really done much with those. So I can't really speak to those so much, but I'm very interested in trying them at some point.
I went down that road. I wasn't, it was okay, but I wasn't that happy with it. And in fact, our sponsor, Sutherland Wells, I kind of started mentioning those because I really like their products and stuff like that. And then they became one of our sponsors. But they have a really nice finish, but it's 100% tung oil. Actually, tung trees here in the U.S. That they process, they polymerize the tung oil, and then they have different formulations. They'll add it to wax. You can get it straight. You can get it with some varnish mixed in and stuff like that. But David Duyard turned me onto those.
Oh, okay. I'll check that out.
Because I was like I had been down the finishing thing for a long time, and I was going, well, I'm going to do what David does. Now, David said he used a third real tung oil from the Real Milk Pink Company and a third of this and a third of that. And I'm going, what type of varnish was he using? I know it was a Spar varnish, but what brand? So I called him up. He goes, oh, I'm not using that stuff anymore. I'm using Sutherland Wells. And then I started using it, and I went, oh, this stuff's great. And they make a lot of, and they have a botanical line that is 100%. Their normal finishes are low VOC, but their botanical line's VOC free, and it's very nice stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
They
use that citrus solvent in it instead of.
Have you ever messed with epiphanes?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've used that.
Expensive
Outdoor
pricey.
It's remarkable. I haven't used it for furniture, but outdoor stuff, it's like, what's this stuff made out of? It's amazing.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Sutherland Wells stuff is that you can buy like their gloss version, and you can just add more thinner to it and make it a semi-gloss or a satin. Which is really nice because that's
very nice.
Yeah, because you can,
so there's no flattening agent in it to kind of muddy up the clarity.
No, most of their stuff has like 3 or 4 ingredients, and that's it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be checking.
And they're out of Rhode Island, and they make it themselves and bags and stuff.
Thanks for the tip.
Anyway, there's our second sponsorship for this episode.
SutherlandWells.com.
Exactly. Well, with that, Jameel, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Benchcrafted.com. Benchcrafted.com. Benchcrafted. On Instagram too. Benchcrafted at Instagram.
All right. Fantastic.
Yep.
Well, Jameel, we thank you so much for coming back on, and man, we can't wait for Handworks. We cannot wait.
Thanks for having me on again. That was a lot of fun. I like the questions are fun. It makes you kind of have to think about the answers, which is it's good. It's a good thing. And wait to see you guys at Handworks. It'll be fun.
Oh, can't wait.
Can't wait. All righty. Thank you so much. And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.